Today we're going to take a look at the Insta360 Go 3 camera that you can see there. It is a compact action camera with lots of different features. Now the Insta360 Go 3 is a revolutionary action camera that packs on some impressive features. It is tiny and lightweight, as you can see here. It comes out of its action pod, which can also be used. It has a display screen. But the latest iteration from Insta360 has a lot of improvements compared to the Go 2. Now there's some pretty impressive image quality in regards to this small size, and the Insta360 Go 3 is definitely a pocket-sized camera that gives you some great footage and redefines how we capture and share different types of footage, video, pictures, etc. Now, one of the standout features about the Go 3 is the small size, and it is lightweight. The Go 3 here is 35.5 grams, and this camera can easily fit into the palm of your hand. It could be mounted on a variety of surfaces. We have magnetic attachments on the back here, so anything that's metal, you can put that on there. It also has some attachments. So for example, we have the ball joint stand so that you can articulate this and move this in different directions. And it also has a 1/4-inch mount that we see there. So you could attach this to a tripod, a mini tripod. You could attach it to the sticky base with the 1/4-inch that we have there. And then you could also take it and attach it to the hat clip, which we have here. So you could put that onto a hat or a headband, and then this also articulates so that you can get the right angle for viewing. Just really an impressive camera. The sleek design of the Go 3 ensures that you can take it anywhere, so it is the perfect companion for family, individuals, travelers, vloggers, even adventurers, since this is waterproof, and we're going to be talking about that and other features in the Go 3. So let's continue on. Now, don't be fooled by the small size of the Go 3, because we get a lot of different image quality when we're talking about the Go 3. And if we go ahead and click on this, we have different formats like the 16:9. We also have the 9:16, which is really nice. And then you have stabilization, so you can have off, standard, or high. And then we get to the resolution there, and we see that we have 2.7K, 1440, and 1080p. So for 1080p, we get anywhere from 24 all the way up to 50 frames per second. When we go to the 1440, we can go up to 50 frames per second as well. And then when we go to the 2.7K, we're limited up to 30 frames per second, which isn't bad. I think there is some improvement that can be had with the next iteration or maybe a firmware update, but considering the size and the image quality that you get out of this action camera, the Go 3 is really nice. This camera also boasts a number of other video and camera features like photo, HDR photo, interval. We also have star lapse, loop recording, slow motion, which goes to 120 frames per second. We then have time shift or hyperlapse, and then we also have time lapse so that you can shoot static time lapse videos, and then we have free frame. Now free frame is pretty nice because this is where you can get the horizon leveling, and it applies a flow state stabilization. You can adjust the different aspects of the freeform or free frame, and you can do that with the app or in the studio on your computer after you filmed. Just a lot of cool features with this, and the resolution could be improved and should be improved on future iterations, but it's just kind of amazing on what they put into this small package. Now, if this wasn't enough, Go 3 also has some AI-powered auto editing. So when you go into the application or the online studio, you can actually choose the clips that you want, and the AI will choose the best parts of those clips and put them and format them and make them into an exciting video. So you don't have to spend a lot of time going through and editing your footage with the Go3 system. It is just another user-friendly type of app, and it works out really well. Now, the Go3 comes with a variety of magnetic mounts, and as we talked about here, we have the magnetic mount. As you can see, it has some little hooks on the end to secure along with the magnetic base, and that provides you some really good flexibility in regards to mounting the camera, and it fits just like that, which is pretty nice. And again, this can articulate to whatever direction that you want it to. And then you could combine this with a 1/4" 20. You could use a tripod. You could use the mounted sticky base that is included. So you could use this to mount on walls, tables, all types of different areas to get some interesting footage. Now, another cool thing about the Go3 is that if we turn this on, then the action pod itself acts as a remote. So as you can see there, it's acting as a remote, so I can actually set this up in a position to get whatever I want to look at, use the action pod as a remote, or I can use the app to get that perfect shot. I mean, who doesn't like that? Now, there's a variety of other mounts, but the other one that I like is the necklace pendant. Now, this pendant has obviously string that you can unravel and then make it so it fits around your neck, but then you'd have your shirt over this, and then your Go3 fits on there just like that. And that is a really strong magnet, so there's no worry about this coming off unless you get into some really serious activities. But besides that, you also have this wedge that can go onto the back. So if this is on your person and on your clothing, and it's kind of angled down, you could use this wedge because it also has a magnet on the back. And so that way you can angle the camera up and you could adjust that to whatever angle you need, which is a neat little device when you're talking about getting some cool footage. Now, when we're talking about battery life, there's not a huge battery in here, but what the Go3 does excel in regards to battery life is that this offers 50% more than the Go2 version with its upgraded battery. Now, the Go3, this can record about 40 minutes. I've been getting about 40-ish, 37 to 40 minutes. And then if you add on the action pod, which also has a battery in it, and when you plug that in there, we see that it's charging up the Go3. It claims you can get about 170 minutes. So I would say 2 hours, but I mean, that's a lot of action footage that you can get with this camera. Now, the Go3 itself, when we're talking about it in regards to being waterproof, is IPX8 rated. So this can actually go underwater for a period or a depth of 5 meters or 16.4 feet, which is pretty nice, snorkeling, things of that nature. Now, when we're talking about the action pod itself, the action pod is rated at IPX4, so it is not rated for being underwater. We've got a connection port for charging and transferring files. You have some other areas where, there's obviously some holes. You have the camera, you have the flip out screen, which goes back and forth. This is not waterproof, but it's basically dust proof and maybe a little bit of splash proof, not too much, but definitely if you're using your Go3 in the water, definitely clean this off and make sure it's dry before you put it back into the case. Now, as we check out, we also have this little display on the back. And the great thing about this is that you can use this to frame in whatever you're looking to get footage on. But this is also great for vloggers because you can take this screen and flip this up. And so now you have a view of showing what you're looking at. Just like that. So it's a pretty amazing piece of kit, and it's great for vloggers. If you're making your own videos and wanting to keep yourself in frame, the flip-up screen works out really well. So just pretty amazing on what it can do. Now there's a few ways in which we can record using the Go 3. Now the first way that we can use is the smartphone app. We can do that, but if your Go 3 is inserted into the action pod, we can press the button on top with the red ring. It'll toggle, we'll get the beep, corresponding light, and we are recording. If we want to stop, we just go ahead and press that button again, and we're back into the standby mode. But now the question is, what happens if I want to use the Go 3 by itself? Well, let's take a look at that. We'll remove this from the case, and we have to remember that the case also acts as a remote. So we're going to have our remote there. And if we're going to be filming something, then I can also use that red button on top, and it will record and we'll be able to see it on the display screen. If I want to stop, I'll press it again, and again, it is stopped. But now the question is, what happens if I want to use the Go 3 by itself? So let's go ahead and we'll power this down. And to use the Go 3 by itself, if I want to turn it on, I'll do a long press for about 2 or 3 seconds. And so it is on. And if I want to record, I press, and then there it will record. So I can use it by itself. If I want to stop, I hit that button again. It goes back into standby mode. And if I want to turn it off, I'll go ahead and I'll do a long press for a few seconds, and it's off. So again, there's a lot of neat features with the Go 3, with controlling it with the action pod, using the smartphone app, or just the Go 3 itself. Now, some of the other cool features that they have included with this includes voice control 2.0. So in other words, you have a setting on here for the Go 3 that if you're checking everything out, you can actually use voice controls to begin the recording of either your video or photos and things of that nature. So for example, if I set this up and it's on a hat clip and it's on my head or a headband, what I can end up doing is saying start recording. And what we end up seeing is that it actually starts recording. And the funny thing I found out is if you use those same 2 words, it'll toggle the video on and off. So that's kind of interesting. And if you wanted to take a photo, you have to be in the video mode for that to happen. So if I'm in the video mode now and I say take photo, nothing is going to happen when I say those words. But if I go ahead and I say start recording, it will go ahead and start the recording process. And of course, it's gonna zero out there as far as the display screen. You can set the different times. And then if I say stop recording, so that offers some great hands-free capabilities in regards to getting your footage, whether it's video or photos. So the Go 3 is pretty impressive from what I've seen so far. It's got a number of features. It's lightweight, hands-free, using the voice connection, magnetic mounting, 2.7K, flow state stabilization, horizon leveling, but that's only available in 1440p, waterproof up to 5 meters. It has a multifunctional action pod, as we see there, the voice controls, AI editing. This is just an impressive little camera that we have. You know, it comes with the Go 3, the action pod. It has a charging cable, which I don't have here with me at this time. Quick start guide, warranty card, the magnetic pendant with the wedge, a pivot stand, the hat clip, and then you also have the sticky mount, which is here, which is reusable, which is pretty nice. So you can clean this off. You could stick this onto a flat surface, a window, wall, something like that, and it will hold up really well. We'll see how long you can reuse that. But overall, this camera is pretty nice. So what we're gonna do next is take the Go 3 out, and we'll get some footage, and we'll do some comparison with the different things that you can do, and you can make a decision on whether the Go 3 is something that you would spend the money on. Now the first thing we're going to take a look at is the different fields of view. So right now we're on linear, so you can end up seeing what it looks like in linear as far as the width. You can see some type of de-warping that's going on the edges, but linear is pretty good. It keeps everything straight for the most part, which is really nice. Now let's go ahead and we'll switch to the next one. Now this is the action field of view setting. And you can see there's a little bit of warping on the corners and the edges. This is good for those action shots, bicycling, things of that nature. But as you can see, the straight lines and some of the curvature that comes with using this mode. So let's go to the next one. Now this is the ultra wide, which you can see there's definitely more warping. But by looking at the three different modes, you can make a decision as to which one you want to use for the footage that you're trying to get. So now we're going to take a look at the 1440 for resolution at 30 frames per second. And that way you can take a look at the colors, and we'll compare this to the 2.7K. But you can see we got some good representation of colors, and works out really well, especially in the extreme heat that we're having here in Korea. So now let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the 2.7. So here we're shooting at 2.7K at 30 frames per second. And again, we've got some good colors, better quality, better resolution, and really nice. Now a lot of other action cameras will have a higher resolution, like 4K seems to be the standard these days. But this isn't bad for the small, compact size of the Go 3. So we'll compare these together and take a look and see what we get. But that is the 2.7K, 30 frames per second. Now another test that we're going to do is the slow motion. We'll do a regular frame video that you can see here, normal speed. And then over here, we're going to take a look at the slow-mo of that at 120 frames per second. So what I've seen with the Go 3 in regards to the slow motion capabilities, it's pretty accurate, and it does really well with that slow motion. You can also do time-lapse, hyperlapse, interval settings, and a number of other features in which you can shoot different types of footage. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of different features with the Go 3, and it seems pretty nice. Now we're also in the 2.7K, but if I turn the camera, you'll notice that the horizon is not locked. So this could be beneficial if you want that type of effect. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the free frame, where you have the horizon lock, and we'll see how different that looks. So now what we're doing is we're using the Go 3, and it's set in a free frame. You can see that the horizon is level, but if I turn the camera this way, the horizon is still level. So no matter how I turn, it should keep the horizon on the level, which is really interesting. So you can see no matter how I turn this, it's going to keep the horizon leveled. I think it would be an awesome feature if it was included in a firmware update, or with the next iteration, maybe the Go 4 will have a 2.7, or better yet, a 4K free frame to keep that horizon locked. But as you can see, if I can turn this all the way upside down, and it keeps that horizon locked, even upside down. So that provides some much needed stability when you're vlogging and it just seems like a really good choice. Now we're going to go through the different video modes. Currently we're at 2.7K, the highest resolution, and we'll end up doing is setting it to the standard so there's no color correction. Just kind of go around and get some of the colors. So we're starting off, this is the standard footage, so you can see what we have here. We'll just kind of go around and show you the colorful items that we see. Vivid setting. So there you have it, the Go 3 Insta360. Small camera, 35 grams, the size of my thumb. When you put it into the action pod, yeah, you can get some pretty cool footage and seeing what's going around. Get some cool shots with it. Again, just seems to be a really great camera. A lot of different options for video, filters, vivid, biking, snow, all of that. You also have a couple of options for resolution. Now really, when we think about it, the 3 resolutions, 1080p, who uses that? That's not even a thing these days, so I'm not sure why they even included that. 1440, that would be bottom of the barrel, but especially with today's action cameras, the 2.7K is kind of like the starting point of where all action cameras should be. So hopefully in the next iteration or firmware update of the Go series, we'll see that bumped up to 4K with the horizon leveling and all of that good stuff with the same small package. That I would pay more money for, without a doubt. So, but until that time, I'm gonna have to settle for the Go 3, which I'm happy to do and use until the Go 4 comes out. So tell me what you think in the comment section down below about the Go 3, things that you like, things that you don't like, and your experiences with action cameras in general. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace. Stop.